This is Selma Schimmel in Chicago at the AACR annual meeting, the American Association for Cancer Research, bringing you an Advocacy in Action special with our advocate in action, Ginny Mason, Executive Director of the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Research Foundation. It's great to see you again, Ginny.
Thank you, Selma.
Well, you are certainly one of the leaders and really a pioneering force in the area of your expertise and interest, which is inflammatory breast cancer.
Right.
So we really want to talk to you about your organization, what sets inflammatory breast cancer apart, and what are some of the unique needs and issues that these patients face.
When my organization, and I call it mine, but I didn't officially start the organization. It was started in 1999 by a gentleman by the name of Owen Johnson after the death of his wife to inflammatory breast cancer. And his frustration at how little information was out there about the disease. And when she began to go through treatment after treatment without a good response, started looking for research, and it was non-existent. And so after her passing, he decided that somebody needed to do something. And he had the ability to turn his business over to his two stepsons, printed business cards with his name and said, Inflammatory Breast Cancer Research Advocate, and did a PubMed search to find out who might be working on the disease and went knocking on doors. Something that 13 years ago was unheard of. You know, advocates weren't doing those kinds of things.
And now let's talk about your work with the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Primarily, we're a research organization, as our name states, Inflammatory Breast Cancer Research Foundation. But we try to tie in at all points in that of education of not only the lay community, but the medical community as well.
What happens when a patient, a loved one, family member, whomever, calls the foundation for support? Who do they speak to? Talk to us about that.
We have a group of trained advocates. Most of them are survivors. One is not, but most of them are survivors who have been given some specialized training in how to work with those who are newly diagnosed or who have questions. We get calls, we have a toll-free number, we have calls, and we also have a form that people can contact us via the web. We try to give guidance. We make it very clear we're not giving medical advice. We're not physicians. We're patients and people who care about the disease. We use a disclaimer to be very careful about those kinds of things, but try to help direct people to what their options are maybe for treatment, where they might seek treatment if their physician isn't familiar with the disease. We answer a real variety of questions.
Ginny, I get to see you a few times a year at these different conferences, and I always find you to be energetic, passionate, articulate.
Thank you.
And a real pleasure to talk to you. You're smart and committed, and you taught us a lot today.
Thank you. I continue to learn and feel like I hoped we would be at a point by now after 13 years when there would be no need for our organization. But I'm committed to, as long as I'm on this side of the grass and continuing to do well, I'll keep at it until we don't, when I can go spend time with my grandchildren.
I hear that. Thank you, Ginny Mason, Executive Director of the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Thank you, Ginny.
Oh, thank you.